First story. Found a condom wrapper while cleaning my wife's car. Now what? We have been together for about 10 years and married for 6. We have no kids now, but we were planning to start trying pretty much now. We are both very active, going to the gym, eating healthy, and are both in relatively great shape. My wife is gorgeous with a phenomenal body, but I would probably consider myself maybe a 5 or 6 out of 10 on the attractiveness scale. I realize that. But we have always had a really strong relationship. We started as great friends, realized we were just right for each other, and that developed into true romantic love and devotion. The sex was always fantastic. There were never any issues there with quality or frequency. I was washing my wife's car, as I do pretty often. In the course of cleaning the interior, I found an open, empty condom wrapper under her passenger seat. We don't use condoms since she has always been on birth control. I am driving myself insane with all the stories and scenarios running through my brain. She spends a lot of time at the gym working with weights and doing her cardio, like 3 hours 4 days a week, so there are frequent times when we are apart. She has never given me a reason to suspect she has been unfaithful. I know I have to confront her, but I'm scared to death of what might be the truth. She is my world, and I can't imagine starting a family with anyone else. I'm afraid I'm going to break. Edit to add. Wow. You all are amazing. I am so touched by the DMs and heartfelt responses. I had no idea I would get so many responses so quickly. I wanted to add some details to save me from having to reply to all the common comments. My wife has never given me a reason to think she has cheated before this. She has always been loving and affectionate, and we were looking forward to starting a family very soon. Some have speculated that kids coming soon may have led her to one last fling. I don't know. Possibly. We are an open book to each other, with our finances pretty much entirely tied up as one. She comes from a pretty upper middle class background. Her parents are very comfortable. I come from a home where my parents were fighting their own demons, and so I didn't get a lot of attention growing up. Not a criticism. It was easy to get lost in the shuffle of my parents' problems. We are cordial, but not super close. I am way closer to her family, and I love her mom, dad, and younger sister. Financially, we are fine. Together, we make about $150K per year. She makes $60K as a law firm assistant, and I make $90K as an auto technician. We own a house together that we were able to purchase with a down payment from her family. If worst comes to worst, I have no interest in fighting for that money. It is theirs, and they can have it back if we end up selling the house. Some have commented about the amount of time she is at the gym. We go to separate gyms. She gets off work at 4 and goes straight to the gym, where she does a class, then works out with weights and cardio on the treadmill. I was never suspicious of the time she spends there. By the time she gets home, I am already there, and she jumps directly in the shower. And then we make dinner together and hang out. As far as a lawyer or an investigator, there's no way I could do that in secret with the way we manage our finances, so that's out for now. Someone explained to me how to get detailed phone records from Visible, so that's my next step. I will get the records when I have some time to myself and see if there is a number that she's in contact with a lot that I do not recognize. I'll try to figure out where to go from there and let you all know. Comments. Sassages. Ugh dude. I'm sorry. I would wait until she comes home. Have a civil conversation with her in a neutral place kitchen, patio. Let her know what you found. Ask her to see her phone. If she says no, you have your answer. If she admits to anything, it's entirely up to you on how you want to proceed. If she lies to you, and you find anything out, walk away. She not only cheated on you, but she was okay with lying and definitely continuing it. No matter what you choose, therapy is a priority. Sending you love. SSPMD 11. Ask for the phone first. Calm_psychology 5 in 879. Trust me when I say this, and this comes from experience. Even someone who seems like the perfect, most loving, and loyal partner can end up being a cheater. Some people just know exactly how they are supposed to behave when in person, but do whatever they want for themselves the second you are out of sight or unaware. Update. 22 hours later. Lots of folks asked for an update. Not a whole lot to say, but things are getting interesting. I am shaking as I type this. Thanks to everyone in the comments and the DMs for the empathy and well wishes. A lot of good tips and advice too. Man, I would hate to piss some of you off. Some of you are vindictive. First off, I found a wrapper, not an actual used condom, so the suggestion of DNA testing was not useful. And thanks to Uhudono27 for the information about getting detailed phone records from Visible. Today at work during some break time, I requested a download of the phone records. But it says the request could take up to 45 days. I can't wait that long. I also drove by her work on my lunch break. I don't know why or what I expected, but her car was there as it normally is. Lots of good advice to track her. Get a VAR. Look at her phone without her knowing. Hire an investigator, a lawyer, etc. I can't deal with this. I am taking the advice a lot of you had, and I'm just going to confront her today when she gets home. As some of you suggested, I plan to just put the condom wrapper on the table in plain sight and watch her body language. I am so scared and nervous, I am almost pissing my pants. I am really starting to expect the worst. For me, if she cheated, there is 0 chance we will stay married. 0. I don't care what excuses or reasons or whatever she has. I am 100% done. No therapy, no counseling, nothing. I can't believe I am typing this. It makes it seem real. I can't imagine her sucking and effing some other guy or guys. That's an image I could never get out of my head for the rest of my life. As far as assets, we don't have many. We have a pretty nice house that her dad helped us pay for. I'm happy to let her have it with my fair share and paying back her father. Otherwise is bullshit like 2 cars, some furniture, and some decent savings that we have both contributed to. So I'm willing to split 50-50. The thought of divorce is burning a pit in my gut. I'll post again after I confront her. Either way, I think this thing comes to a conclusion tonight. Comments. Blue. If you find out the worst tonight when you talk to her, you get up and walk away. Walk out your front door, get in your car, and drive down to a local parking lot or park until you are completely calm and all of your emotions are in check. If it takes you 2 days to calm down, then take the 2 days. Do not go back in a rage. Things have a way of escalating and situations have a way of getting out of control. Your only priority during that conversation is staying calm. Let us know how it goes. We are all pulling for you and hoping it's a terrible misunderstanding. Personality 407. Good luck, OP. I was in a very similar position 20 years ago when my husband found the same thing in my car. It turns out my friend from work who had asked to borrow my car at lunch was actually the one cheating on her husband with another colleague in my car. It was a effing mess, and my husband and I are still married and happy. But I jumped through hoops to prove myself. I completely understood why he and you feel the way you do. But I hope that maybe there is a tiny chance she isn't actually cheating. I would take the time to gather more evidence if you can. OP replying to a deleted comment. Yes, we have toys, but we never used condoms. And I can imagine she is taking care of herself in her car. Flynn_Jam. Was the wrapper in plain sight? Maybe she left the window open. I saw this show where this girl would throw her hair ties into open car windows to make trouble. OP, no. It was under the passenger seat, toward the back of the seat. The car has a very small back seat, so I can't imagine having G's ex back there. But who knows what motivated people are capable of. Mini update. 3 hours later, post deleted. Retrieved with pull push. Mini update. Okay. Instead of sitting here pissing my pants, I wanted to just type a few more things to keep busy. I'm sitting here trying to find any other reason to doubt her. Dashcam. Yes, I've checked the dashcam footage. Nothing suspicious or out of the ordinary. Commutes to work, the gym, and home. Maybe a stop or two for typical errands. Grocery store, cleaners. 0 suspicious activity. But she knows there is a dashcam too, so who knows? Maybe she's just being really careful. Our current state of relationship. It's really strong as far as I know. She comes home. We share a glass of wine while we make dinner together. Talk about our day. Cuddle on the couch. If we watch a show, we really have what anyone from the outside would be jealous of. No feelings of distance, no hiding a phone, and no drop-off in his ex, which has always been and still is great. Her gym time with as much as she does. It is really reasonable for her to spend 2.5 hours at the gym. I've gone with her. I've seen her work out. It's pretty extensive, and her body shows it. I am so proud of how great she looks, and how she takes such good care of herself, and encourages me and cares about our health. I've never been suspicious about it, maybe foolishly. Yes, she comes home and showers right away. But she's typically sweaty and feels gross. She doesn't avoid me when she walks in. She will typically come over and greet me with a kiss on the lips, and then hit the shower. If she was just having sex with a side piece, I think she would be more discreet. We spend almost all of our time together on the weekends. Go for a jog, date nights, happy hour with friends, dinners with family, etc. She has a lot of girlfriends from work, and they sometimes go out for a girls' night, like once every 2 months. But again, nothing suspicious. I see the credit card charges, so I don't believe she is hiding anything. And her girlfriends are all awesome. And I love hanging out with them and their husbands, BBFs. I'm torn and getting nervous about talking to her tonight. But I gotta get this over with. Comments. Big Chungus 9181. I gotta know what happens. Update. 7 hours later. This should be my final post on this topic. I took a lot of your advice and decided to just confront her tonight. Sorry for the length, but it was a lot. My wife came home from the gym about 6:45, like always. I was sitting at the kitchen table alone. She came over, said hi, kissed me on the lips, and went off to take a shower pretty much like usual. I'm NGL, and when she came over to kiss me, I smelled really hard for any evidence of man sense. Cologne, soap, deodorant, sweat, anything. I got nothing. As she showered, I sat by myself in a ball of anxiety and damn near chickened out. She got out of the shower and came into the kitchen with wet hair, sweats, and a t-shirt, looking beautiful as usual. She sat down like we always do and expected to chat about our day. She could see immediately something was wrong. She asked what's up. I was shaking and so nervous, like you cannot believe. I asked, have you lent your car to anyone recently? No. Have you had any passengers in your car the last few weeks? She thought for a second and said no. I asked, has anyone besides you or me been in your car the last few weeks? She said, no. What the hell is going on? I asked to see her phone. She looked at me weird, said okay, and just slid the phone to me across the table, no hesitation, and said, what the F is going on? I didn't touch her phone. I took the condom wrapper out of my pocket and set it on the table. She looked at it, but had no real visible reaction. I didn't say a word. After a few seconds, she said, what the hell is that? I said it's a condom wrapper. She said, it's obviously a condom wrapper. What the F is a condom wrapper doing on our kitchen table? She was starting to get annoyed. She is either a really good actor, or she sincerely had no idea what was happening. I told her I found it under her car seat while I was cleaning her car. She honestly looked dumbfounded. She said she had no idea how it got there. She really seemed sincere and was starting to get concerned. She asked if I thought it was hers. I said, I'm not sure. Is it? She said. You have got to be kidding me. You seriously think I'm effing around on you? Are you crazy? What the hell is wrong with you? She took her phone and waved it at me and said, here, please, look at my phone. Call my sister who she shares everything with or any of my friends. I'm not sure what you want me to say. We sat in silence, very uncomfortable, for a minute or two. I didn't take my eyes off her, looking for any sign like a tear. I said, what would you think if the roles were reversed? She admitted she would probably be suspicious, but would give me the benefit of the doubt. She literally went through every day the past couple of weeks, where she went, who she was with, and what she was doing, trying to come up with any explanation. She finally remembered an after-work thing that they did for a friend of hers, a baby shower kind of thing at a restaurant after work. One of the girls at her office was invited, but couldn't go, and so she asked my wife to please take her gifts to the party. My wife said sure. They walked down to my wife's car to put the gifts in, and my wife's stuff was in the front passenger seat. As I said, the car she drives, the Infiniti Q60, has a tiny back seat, and access to that back seat is ridiculously difficult. As her friend was putting the gifts in, she spilled her purse all over the floor behind the passenger seat. That was the only possibility she could think of. As I sat there, she insisted we call that friend immediately, and she did just that. She put her friend on speakerphone. She asked her if she remembered when she spilled her purse. She answered yes. She asked if she was sure she got everything picked up off the floor. She answered, I think so. Why? My wife then seriously asks, do you and BFS name use condoms? Her friend kind of chuckled and said, yes. My wife asks what brand, and she answers Trojans. Same size too. My wife looked straight into my eyes and asked, when you dumped your purse in my car, is there a chance there were condoms in it? Her friend said, yes, it's not unusual for me to have condoms in my purse. Why? My wife told her friend about the wrapper. Her friend said she doesn't know why she would have an empty wrapper in her purse, but it is certainly possible. She hung up the phone and looked at me and asked if I would like to go through her phone. I said no, and she asked, mystery solved. I literally started crying. I was crying because I was so relieved. I was crying because I am married to the most awesome woman in the world, who loves me more than anything. And I was crying because I was so racked with guilt that I thought she could be cheating. I felt miserable for how I must have made her feel. My incredible wife took it so well. She hit me with her dish towel and said, Jesus Christ. I cannot believe you could think I would cheat on you. But she admitted again she may have felt the same in my shoes. She even laughed a little and said it was kind of cute that I was so jealous and nervous about asking her about it. We decided to have our glass of wine and go out for dinner. At dinner, we talked about how excited we were to start trying for a baby. I am 1000% sure she is telling the truth. I know her. I know her like nobody else. I know her body language. I know her voice and how it sounds when she is stressed or hiding something. There was none of that. I hope none of you have to go through this. But thanks for all the well wishes. I will probably let my wife read this thread at some point. But not while it's still so fresh. Plus, she'll probably rib me for going to Reddit for advice. She's not necessarily a fan. Haha. So all is good. Really, really good. Have a great life, everyone. Comments. Quesaprisa. We love a happy resolution. Nice work on keeping composed during the confrontation. May you guys have a long and wonderful marriage. OP thanks. Composure was never in question. We are both pretty calm people. We rarely even yell at each other when we fight. I am not aggressive or in any way violent. There was never a chance things were going to get out of hand. Sitting. Bro had me nervous. OPSHT. You were nervous. Second story. Parents' favoritism turned my golden child sister into a criminal involved in killing someone. Still, they are defending her and ruining my little sister's life too. Hey Reddit. I thought I'd share my story here because people kept telling me it would make a great book. But since I don't have the time or money to write one, Reddit seemed like the best place. I'm F20, the middle kid of 4 M28, F24, F18, and my parents M52, F49 got divorced a little over 5 years ago. My family has been dysfunctional since forever. But things really took a turn for the worse in 2015 when my older sister met her boyfriend. For some background, my older sister, let's call her White, has always been the family favorite. We're Latino, so each of us has always had this role we were supposed to play. My brother, let's call him Genius, was the smart one. The youngest, let's call her Law, was the cute one. I was the odd one out, and White was the pretty one. White was the classic golden child, tall, blonde, with light eyes, popular, and with an entitlement you usually see in the most typical Karens. She always got the sweet side of my parents and relatives, getting whatever she wanted whenever she wanted. When she met Leon, things went from bad to worse. He was basically her male twin, only with even more entitlement. Over the next 2 years, a lot happened with their relationship and our dysfunctional family. But everything blew up in 2018 when my parents discovered that White and Leon had stolen from their emergency fund. Here, stealing from your parents isn't technically a crime, so White got away with it. She ran off to live with our maternal grandma. That's another story in itself. But let's just say grandma doesn't get along with my mom. After this whole thing, my parents' already shaky relationship totally fell apart. But White still managed to steal from grandma too. She even faked evidence and filed a police report against my mom for assault. The report went nowhere because my mom had multiple alibis proving she was nowhere near White. After robbing grandma, White finally moved in with Leon, and we went 2 years without hearing from her or knowing what she was up to. Then, one day, she popped back up trying to reconnect with the family. I wasn't buying it. And we later learned from others that White and Leon had taken over his parents' business by tricking them into signing a fake contract. White and I and Genius, too, never got along. We barely managed to stay civil with her because of her attitude. Law was too young to have an opinion, but the rest of the family always had this soft spot for White. So, no matter what she did, they still wanted her around, and even though contact was limited, the family welcomed her with open arms. When White turned 21, she announced she was expecting a baby, my niece. Everyone was thrilled about a new life coming in since we'd just recently lost my paternal grandma, who had been the light of the family. The baby was celebrated as this new hope. But little did we know what was about to go down. During her pregnancy and the first year of my niece's life, my parents tried to be there and keep things civil with each other, Leon's parents, and even Leon and White. A lot of bad stuff happened during that time, but everyone decided to overlook it to keep the peace and stability for the baby. But the good neighbor vibe didn't last. White and Leon's relationship was falling apart quickly, on top of the stress of managing a small business and raising a kid. Leon was having affairs with multiple people, men and women, had substance abuse issues, violent outbursts, and a level of instability that was concerning, to say the least. The business was tanking due to poor management and embezzlement to keep up a life of luxury and excess. Things took a dark turn in 2023 when an employee in the finance department noticed budget inconsistencies. Some employees weren't getting paid, even though the company had enough to cover salaries. When this employee went to White and Leon to bring it up and ask for his termination, he wasn't met kindly and said he would report it to HR and the union, knowing the union would start a legal process against them, and that the jury wouldn't be on their side because of the financial mismanagement. Leon and White decided to take drastic action. They made a plan with another employee, and this employee and Leon ended up killing the guy. The case was investigated, and a week before the arrest order, Leon went into hiding, while White returned to our hometown and stayed at my mom's place. On the day of the arrest, around 6 a.m., the police showed up and arrested White right in my mom's house, leaving her totally shocked. Days later, it all came out. The police investigation had identified White, Leon, and the other employee as the masterminds and perpetrators of the murder. But no sentence had been given yet, so she was put in preventive detention. My parents were in disbelief, and the whole family was shocked. I can't say the same for me. From then on, the whole legal process was chaos, tons of dirty laundry aired, and not much resolution. The sentence got postponed for multiple reasons, and after 9 months in jail with no sentencing on the horizon, White was released on parole. The family, hopeful and naive, thinking that jail time had changed White, welcomed her back with open arms, not knowing what was coming. Through all this, I had zero sympathy for her, and neither did Genius. Law was old enough to know but too clueless to understand. She moved back home, and since I was on a break from college, I had to tolerate her presence. And trust me, I knew from the start she hadn't changed. Her acting was good enough to fool my parents, who went out of their way to keep her happy because being in jail and away from her daughter had left White depressed. For 2 weeks, she tried to manipulate everyone, got my parents to spend thousands of dollars to keep her lifestyle, convinced them bit by bit that all she wanted were essentials, and fooled them all over again. During this time, I tried to warn them, saying she was lying, manipulating them, and taking money they couldn't afford to give her. Slowly, once again, she controlled and demanded things from them, just like before, and no one stood up to her. When classes started up again, I decided to stop interfering, especially after one incident where White cornered my mom during a health crisis and had to be rushed to the hospital, and even after that, my mom kept accommodating her. Once I went back to uni, White's true colors came out. She had moved into my mom's house, and Law, who also lived there, was the first to notice since my mom was out working. White started bringing strange men over when my mom wasn't home, stealing my mom's and Law's belongings, taking money, lying about where she was going, coming back late on drugs, and staining the fabric chairs with ointments for STDs. As my mom began noticing this reckless behavior, especially after Law complained, she tried to intervene, but obviously, it was too late. Letting things slide before had just opened the door for White's behavior, and now there was no turning back. White began resenting my mom for trying to step in and started making things worse for her, damaging my mom's relationship with my maternal grandmother, alienating her from her siblings, and isolating her completely. Now my mom is trying to issue an eviction to get White out, but apparently, my dad will take her in until she finds somewhere else. But one thing is for sure, I won't be around if White is home for the holidays. That's it for now. P.S. English isn't my native language, obviously, since I'm Latina. So sorry for any mistakes or inconsistencies. Third story. OP loses her husband in a car accident and finds out she's pregnant. When should I tell my in-laws that I'm having their dead son's baby? Background. I 35F lost my husband 32M in a car accident 3 weeks ago. 2 days ago, I found out that I'm pregnant. By my calculation, I am just over 5 weeks now. It's the first only child for either of us. Before he died, we knew we wanted a child sometime in the near future, but we were not trying yet. So on top of everything else, it's a huge surprise. I am okay with it. I am heartbroken beyond belief that we won't get to raise this child together, and that they won't get to know their father. But I'm glad this baby exists. I told my immediate family because, well, I couldn't stand to hang on to this information alone. They know I want to keep it private for now, and I trust them not to tell everyone before I'm ready. I am currently thinking I'll tell everyone else, extended family, friends, co-workers, at 12 weeks. I'm just not sure when to tell my in-laws, meaning my husband's immediate family, his parents and sister. I am fairly close with them, especially my ML and Sil, and we get along very well. Part of me wants to tell them now simply because I wouldn't feel right keeping it from them for the next 7 weeks, and I wouldn't want them to feel hurt or excluded that I didn't tell them earlier. The other part wants to wait until my first trimester is over because there's a very real chance I could miscarry. And if that happens, I don't want to cause them any more pain. His parents have mentioned before that they would love to have grandchildren, and this would be their first. I think if I told them and then lost the baby, they would be heartbroken. Should I tell them ASAP? Wait until after my OB appointment at 8 weeks? Or wait until the end of my first trimester at 12 weeks? Update. Basically, my husband died a little over a month ago 2 weeks when I made the post. I had just found out I was pregnant with our first child and couldn't decide when to tell his immediate family because I wanted them to know, but didn't want to get them excited all for something to go wrong. I ended up telling them the day after I made the post because I didn't feel right keeping it from them. It was bittersweet, as you can imagine, but they were really, really excited. Yesterday, I had my first doctor's appointment, and so far everything looks perfect. The baby looks like a little gummy bear and has a strong heartbeat at 160 BPM. I'm due October 7th. I showed my in-laws the sonogram last night. This kid is going to grow up surrounded by people who adore him. Her update in our widowers. You're handling it so well. I don't know how you do it. Someone said that thing to me today. It was a colleague. I know she meant well. I'm usually pretty good at hiding my emotions when I need to, but that doesn't mean they're not there. I still don't even know what I'm supposed to say to comments like that. It almost made me feel a little nauseous. It's been less than 2 months. Going back to work has actually been okay because it gives me something to focus on besides my own feelings. I can be someone else besides that woman whose husband died. But then I go home and have to brace myself before I go inside our house, and he won't be there. I would probably just sit in my car, but the dog needs to be fed, and he barks when I pull in the garage. I was actually having a relatively okay-ish day. Everything feels like 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. Or maybe 1 step forward and 2 steps back. I don't even know anymore. Update. We have a son. I had my 12-week appointment last week and got the CVS results back yesterday. It's a boy, and all indications are that he's normal and healthy. I sat on my kitchen floor and sobbed after I got the call. I waited until I got the test results back to start telling everyone except immediate family. I've told most of my close relatives now. Most of my family is in another state or overseas, and it stinks not being able to see them right now. I am a little overwhelmed by everyone's support, but it helps to know that he will be surrounded by people who love him, even if his dad isn't here. My husband was a good man, and I don't know how to raise a boy to be a good man without him to help, but I want to do my very best for him. His middle name will be his father's first name. I'm heartbroken that my son won't get to know his father. I'm terrified of raising a child alone, but I'm happy I have him, and I'm excited to see and meet and hold him. And then I feel guilty for feeling happy about anything less than 2.5 months after my husband died. It's just a lot of feelings all at once. Update. He's missing out on so much. Earlier today, I felt our baby boy kick for the first time. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever felt, and I still can't believe my husband won't be here to experience any of it. I didn't find out I was pregnant until after he died. He can't be there for any of the ultrasounds. He'll never get to feel the baby move. There won't be any photos of him holding his only child for the first time in the hospital. He won't be there for his first words, his first steps, his first day of school, or his graduation. Our son will have to go through all those things, seeing other kids there with their fathers and knowing his isn't there. We were supposed to do all this stuff as a family. I'm actually having one of the best weeks I've had since he died. I decided on a name and bought some stuff for the nursery and felt him move for the first time. But then I think about how happy we would be if we were doing it together. I am glad I have our son, and I already don't know what I would do without him. But having so many mixed feelings over every single moment is exhausting. Update in our baby bumps. Did anyone feel less bonded with their baby after birth? So I want to start off by saying this baby is loved and wanted, and I am looking forward to meeting him. But the pregnancy wasn't planned, and I definitely did not plan on doing it alone. My husband died in January. I'm 34 weeks old, and I'm getting more nervous as I get closer to my due date. I definitely feel bonded with the baby right now. I love him tremendously, and I love feeling him kick. But I don't know what things will be like once he's on the outside. I don't know how I am supposed to take care of a whole person on my own. My family and friends are very supportive, but with COVID-19, the ways they can help are limited. I'm doing what I can to be prepared, but I know taking care of a baby is hard even for 2 parents. What if I have a difficult delivery or recovery? What if he hardly ever sleeps and still isn't sleeping at night when I go back to work? So I'm never able to sleep. What if he has colic and I can't hand him off to anyone else so I can get a moment's peace? What if I just feel like a bad mom? I'm afraid that if it's too hard, I'll feel less bonded with him or even start resenting him. Update. I've been writing letters to the baby every month, and I plan to keep doing it, hopefully still every month once he's born. I want to remember the little things that happen every month that might not make it into the baby book, and writing things down helps a little with all the big feelings I have about bringing a child into the world. Now at this point in history and in my own life, I'll give them all to him someday, maybe when he turns 18. I'm due a month from tomorrow, and this is the letter I wrote him to mark 8 months. Dear Sab, I have definitely reached the cantaloupe on toothpicks stage of this pregnancy. As I watch and feel you grow right before my eyes, I am getting more and more anxious to meet you. As your due date approaches, I can also feel myself getting more nervous. Nervous because I've never done this before. Nervous because there are so many unknowns. Nervous because I want to be the best mother I can be. I have to confess I am already second-guessing so many parenting decisions. Is your car seat safe enough? Will your name fit you? Did I pick the right nanny? One thing I do know is how much I love you. After your father died, I didn't think I would ever be able to love someone this much, and definitely not this soon. The months since he died have been the hardest of my life, but falling in love with you was easy. It feels strange to say that I'm lucky, but it's true. Losing your dad was the worst thing to ever happen to me. I still feel angry with Allah for taking him from me, and for letting you grow up without your father. Remember one thing, by the way, it's okay to be angry with Allah. He can take it. In many ways, though, I am fortunate. I'm healthy, you're healthy, and we have a loving and supportive family who can't wait to meet you. I know it's silly, but sometimes I worry that you won't like me. I know some kids prefer their dad over their mom or vice versa, and then I realize you won't have that option. And that feels worse. I don't know you as a person yet, but I do know that I like you a lot already, if only because you make me smile and laugh every day. My job is to be your mom, not your friend. But I do hope that you'll like me too, and that we can enjoy spending time together. A couple weeks ago, I summoned up the courage to watch a video of your dad and me on my phone, just a silly video of us joking around. It's so hard for me to watch videos of him. When his voice came on, you started kicking like crazy. I don't know if you were just responding to the sound, or if you somehow knew whose voice it was, but it gave me a much-needed moment of wonder amidst the pain. Thanks for doing that. Now that your due date is only a month away, this might be the last letter I write to you before you get here. Wallahi, I will keep writing them after you're born. I'm going to miss your gymnastics and how, when I touch my belly, you push your little back against my hand like, oh, yeah, that's the spot. Still, I am so excited to have you on the outside and get to know you better. I can't wait to finally meet the boy who gave me so much hope. Love, Mama. Update. Our son is here. Our son was born on Saturday. 7 pounds, 5 ounces, 20.5 inches. His name is Sabri David. Sabri means patient and originates from sabr, which in Islam refers to persistence or steadfastness in one's faith, especially in the face of challenges. David was my husband's name, and appropriately enough also means beloved. He was born 8 months and 8 days after his father's death. We're both healthy. I had a pretty easy labor as far as labor goes, but still, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. It's bittersweet. He is incredible, and I am obsessed with him. His coloring is like mine, and he has a full head of beautiful black hair, but his ears look like my husband's. I'm so thrilled that he's here, and I love him more than the world. But I just keep thinking how amazing it would have been if my husband and I could have done it together. I still can't believe he will never meet his dad. Update. Most days get easier, but the anniversaries get harder. I can't believe it's been 3/4 of a year since I've seen him or touched him. I'm pretty happy most of the time, but there is always a nagging feeling that things would be so much better if he were here. We could have spent quarantine together making each other laugh instead of me spending it alone. I wouldn't have a panic attack from seeing a traffic safety commercial. He could have come to my doctor's appointments and heard our baby's heartbeat and felt him kick. He could have helped decorate the nursery. He could have been there for the birth of his son. We could have enjoyed every milestone together. He could have taught him how to be a good man. Instead, he never even got to know that we had a child. I try not to dwell, but constantly beating back all the feelings of what if is exhausting. I'm usually very strict about putting the baby in his crib for every single nap, but today I barely want to put him down. If it weren't for this amazing boy, I don't know how I would have made it this far. Update. 1 year today. The love of my life has been gone from this world for a whole year. If you had asked me a year ago, I never would have thought I'd survive this long without him. I almost want to laugh at how mind-blowingly insane the last year has been. I can't believe how much has changed in my life, and in the world since then. I wouldn't have thought I would get the chance to be a mother. And now he has a son who will never get to meet him. Who, in spite of everything we went through while I was carrying him, came out the smiliest, happiest kid. It feels like every single thing that happens for the rest of my life will be a reminder of his absence. In a way, I want to be reminded because it means I remember what it was like when he was here, and I don't want to forget. I just wish my son's existence wasn't inextricably linked in my mind to his father's death. Most of the time, I am okay. I try not to be bitter, but some days it's hard. I am finding joy in things, even if they also make me sad. All things considered, I know I'm pretty lucky. OP drops by to update us. Oh wow, thank you so much for your kind wishes, everyone. I'm coming up on the 2nd anniversary of my husband's death, so it's a tough time of year. It's crazy to think it's been 2 years already. Everything has changed, but it feels like yesterday. My son is a walking, talking, huggable, and easily lovable 15-month-old now. His personality so far is a lot like his dad's. Easygoing, affectionate, always smiley, and in a good mood. He is like a balm for my soul. He gives me a reason to want to get out of bed every day because I'm always excited to see him. So that helps. I've struggled with delayed onset PTSD from my husband's accident and have panic attacks and flashbacks. I actually had the first panic attack of my life when I was in the car on the way to the hospital to have my son, although I didn't realize what it was until afterward. I'm learning to cope in therapy. It's been tough, but I'm making progress and learning to let the grief and joy coexist. Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.